Welcome Starfinders to Starfinder Week. My name is Cody. This is Taking20, a channel about all things role-playing games. And today we're going to kick off our coverage of Starfinder's classes by taking a closer look at the Soldier. So, hope you guys are ready. Let's get started. Okay guys, so before we jump in and talk about the Soldier, I want to give a big thank you to my sponsor here for Starfinder Week, Miniature Market. Miniature Market has been my go-to since I discovered them a few years ago, and I highly recommend them to all gamers. So whether you're into X-Wing, 40K, Magic the Gathering, Settlers of Catan, or Dungeons and Dragons, or if you're looking for a place to just snag some minis for your table, Miniature Market has you covered. And of course, if you guys want to grab some serious discounts on the full Starfinder lineup, be sure to check out the link down in the description below. It'll take you guys right to everything Starfinder, and it'll let Miniature Market know that I sent you over. Once again, thank you Miniature Market for making these videos possible. I really appreciate it. So what is the Soldier? Well, for the most part, this is going to most closely correlate with the Fighter from Pathfinder. So if you're familiar with that class, you'll find the Soldier familiar as well. Now, just because soldiers are called soldiers doesn't mean that they are purely militaristic women and men. Soldiers can be bodyguards, mercenaries, brigands, or company men fighting for a company that they've worked for years. They can be charismatic, leading a small company or even an entire starship fleet. Or they can be lone wolves who have rejected a society that's left them to fend for themselves. They can be brilliant strategists, carefully planning every assault to minimize casualties. Or they can be impulsive oafs that charge headfirst at the smallest of insults. Soldiers can make for some of the most interesting classes in the game when it comes to creating a character because they have the most possibility and you can really mold them into any type of character or background that you want. As far as stats go, we see that the Soldier gets a hefty 7 HP and 7 points of stamina. The Soldier also gets the unique option of choosing which key ability score they want to have, either dexterity or strength. But once you make this choice, it can't be changed. And remember, your key ability score will affect your character's resolve points. So choose whichever ability score you plan on having as the absolute highest. The Soldier gets 4 skill ranks per level and has 8 class skills, which are acrobatics, athletics, engineering, intimidate, medicine, piloting, profession, and survival. And what really stands out here to me is that there's almost no overlap with skill modifiers, which is going to make being great at more than just a couple skills really tough on a Soldier. So I'd suggest just to really focus on the most important ones for your character and just to let the rest of the party pick up the slack for you in the skills department. The Soldier also gets proficiency in both light and heavy armor and gets weapon proficiency in advanced melee, small arms, long arms, heavy weapons, sniper weapons, and grenades. When looking at the Soldier's class features, one of the biggest things that jumps out is the Soldier gets full progression on both fort saves and will saves, something that is a stark difference from Pathfinder fighters, and honestly something that might have been easily overlooked if you're just making an assumption that it's like the fighter. And as you'd probably expect, the Soldier is a full base attack bonus class, so it will get an additional rank to its BAB every single level. And the one thing that makes the Soldier arguably one of the most diverse classes in the game is feats. The Soldier gets a ton of combat feats, one at every even level, giving the Soldier a new feat at every single level in the game. In addition to the Soldier's combat feats, it also gets a fighting style at level 1. This works as the class's archetype or path, although technically there are other things in the game called an archetype, so I don't want to confuse you there. And it grants you a new ability at level 1, level 5, level 9, 13, and 17. So the Soldier gets to choose from one of 7 fighting styles. Now, please keep in mind that I'm only going to highlight what I think are the key abilities here, so you'll still get new abilities at 1, 5, 9, 13, and 17, whether I talk about them here or not. The first is Arcane Assailant. This is going to let you guys tap into magic to enhance your effectiveness in combat, but not through the casting of spells, if you will. At first level, you get Rune of the Eldritch Knight, which lets you add a rune to your weapon, changing it to a magic weapon for the purposes of bypassing damage reduction. At 5th level, you get the ability to add a fusion to your weapon for free. Now, these only change part of the weapon's damage type and don't actually increase your weapon's damage output. And at 9th level, you get the option of spending a resolve point to end certain conditions affecting you, like bleeding, burning, or being sickened. Armor Storm is a fighting style which helps you use your armor as a weapon. So at 1st level, you get to treat all unarmed attacks with heavy or powered armor as a battle glove. At 5th level, you get Enhanced Tank, which gives you the powered armor feat for free, and since it requires a base attack bonus of 5 to snag in the first place, you'll be getting it as early in the game as possible regardless. This also gives you an extra armor upgrade slot, which only will cost you half as much as usual, so that's a pretty nice little perk. And at 13th level, you get Mobile Army, which allows you to deal even more damage, 1d6 to be exact, with any weapon that is also a part of your armor. And you'll grab a +2 kinetic armor class bonus against all combat maneuvers. The Blitz fighting style helps you speed into melee combat. So your 1st level ability is Rapid Response. This gives you a native +4 to initiative and increases your speed by 10 feet. Charge Attack, which you pick up at level 5, gives you the ability to charge without incurring any penalties. And at 9th level, they get a great ability called Keep Fighting, which lets you spend a resolve point as a move action to regain 2d6 plus your soldier level in stamina points instead of having to spend 10 minutes as per normal. This also increases by a d6 at 10th, 15th, and 20th levels. The Bombard fighting style lets you take better advantage of a higher strength score even when attacking with ranged attacks. The first thing you get with this fighting style is Grenade Expert. This lets you throw grenades further and allows you to create grenades for free. With this ability, you get to create a single grenade equal to your soldier class level. And this, in my opinion, is a very, very powerful effect if you're putting it to good use. Now, it's also worth mentioning that only you can use the grenades that you create. And if you make any additional grenades, the previous grenade you created will just simply cease to work. So no, you cannot break the game by becoming a traveling arms dealer, unless you want to plan to rip off a whole lot of people, which could definitely be a lot of fun. At 5th level, you get Heavy Fire, which helps you more steadily aim your weapon and allows you to add your strength bonus to all damage on a single attack, meaning that you cannot apply this effect if you are taking the full attack action and trying to fire off your weapon more than once in a round. And maybe one of the more interesting abilities for the Bombard fighting style is Debilitating Attack, which you get at level 9. This lets you spend a resolve point when you hit an enemy with a ranged attack with either the Blast or Explode special property to try and make your target deafened, flat-footed, off-target, or to have their movement speed, though they do get a fort save to try and avoid this. The Guard fighting style is going to be the fighting style that you want if you want to tank for your group. At 1st level, you get Armor Training, reducing your armor check penalty and letting you increase the max dex penalty for that armor. At 5th level, you snag Guard's Protection, which lets you react to incoming damage against an adjacent ally and allows you to redirect half of that damage onto yourself. At 13th level, you'll get Kinetic Resistance, which gives you a damage reduction of 3, and at 17th level, this increases to DR5. And finally, at 17th level, you also grab Impenetrable Defense, which lets you, as a standard action, gain DR10, provides you and an adjacent ally each +4 to AC, and lets you redirect all damage from an adjacent ally instead of just half if you use your reaction on Guard's Protection. The Hit and Run fighting style is going to give you the most options for mixing up your approach to combat. At 1st level, you get Opening Volley, which grants you the Opening Volley feat. So let's take a look at that feat. Whenever you deal damage to an opponent with a ranged attack on your first turn, you gain a +2 circumstance bonus to your next melee attack roll against that opponent. This melee attack must occur before the end of your next turn. In addition, at level 9, you can use your opening volley on both your first and second attack. Due to the fact that drawing a weapon, i.e. switching from a ranged weapon to a melee weapon, takes a move action, Kasatha jump to mind at higher levels as they still have enough economy to take a full attack with a melee weapon right after they have fired off a ranged weapon and closed the gap on their target. At 5th level, you get Nimble Fusillade. This gives you the option to take either a guarded step or, more importantly for non-Kasathas, the chance to move half of your speed after a full attack, which can either be melee or a ranged attack. This will help you get into position for those melee attacks that follow up a ranged attack for opening volley, but only half of your movement speed may not be enough in many cases. And at 9th level, you get Duck and Weave, which lets you spend resolve points to avoid attacks of opportunity from moving or firing off a ranged weapon. And finally, we have the Sharpshoot fighting style, which makes you more deadly with ranged weapons. At 1st level, you get Sniper's Aim, which reduces the AC granted by cover for your target by 2. At 5th level, you are granted Focus Fire. In short, this reduces some of the penalties by taking more than one shot with your ranged weapon in a round. And it eventually also even works with the Soldier's Onslaught class feature once you gain access to it. And at 13th level, you get Focused Damage, which gives you an extra 2d6 against the first target whenever you use Focus Fire. Now, it's important to note that this does work for each attack as long as, again, those additional attacks are still against the first target. This, at level 13, would in essence let you make 3 attacks in a round against the same target at -5 each for an additional 2d6 points of damage each. Now, in addition to the Soldier grabbing their fighting style at level 1, they will also gain access to a second style at level 9. Though you'll basically start over as far as Soldier levels counting towards your progression of that second style goes. When I look over the fighting styles, a few really jump out at me as perhaps a bit more useful than the others. The first is Bombard, which I really like for its grenade expert feature and debilitating attack. I think that this will be a really solid choice for strength builds if you take it as your first fighting style. As a second fighting style, I actually wouldn't recommend it. By the time that you're level 9, creating a level 1 grenade is really going to be a waste, in my opinion. I also really like the Blitz fighting style, and while this would make for a great first style, this is also a great choice to take as your second style, as rapid response is practically 2 feats rolled into one ability. This could even be a good choice if you want to dip into one level of fighter to pick up heavy armor proficiency, a slew of weapon proficiencies, a +4 to initiative checks, and an extra 10 feet of movement. I mean, wow. If you want to play a tank, I have 0 issues with the guard fighting style. It's going to be your go-to for that. And finally, I really like Sharpshoot for ranged dex builds. Sniper's Aim could be really powerful depending on your game master, and Focus Fire is pretty strong in and of itself. In addition to fighting styles, the Soldier also gets a set of abilities called Gear Boosts that they get to pick at level 3, 7, 11, 15, and 19. In short, these help you become more effective with certain types of weapons and armors. As an example, Bullet Barrage gives you a +1 insight to damage for all projectile weapons, a bonus that increases by 1 every 4 Soldier levels. At level 3, the Soldier picks up Weapon Specialization, which counts for every weapon type that the Soldier has proficiency with. And finally, the Soldier's capstone ability is Kill Shot. This lets you try and instantly kill an enemy that you hit with an attack that doesn't die by making it make a fort save. This ability can only be used on that creature once in a 24-hour period, but the Soldier can actually use this as often as they like, which makes this a very, very powerful capstone ability. So overall, I think that the Soldier is a very well-built class that will give players a lot of freedom in character creation. Just by having the ability to choose whether Dex or Strength is your key ability will really open up a lot of possibilities with this class. And I think that this will be one of those classes that you could play again and again and really make characters that feel completely different from one another in how they actually function. So what do you guys think about the soldier? Which of these fighting styles stand out to you as the strongest? I'd love to hear what you guys think. Also, be sure to check out the video's description for a full guide to all the coverage here for Starfinder Week on the channel. I'm going to be releasing 28 videos for Starfinder over the next few weeks, so if you're looking for a place to keep up with everything Starfinder, I've got you covered. If this is your first time here and you love role-playing games as much as I do, I'd love to have you subscribe. Every week I'll be putting out new videos on GM tips, player tips, tutorials, and more, so if this sounds like something you'd be interested in, just hit that subscribe button down below and come join us. Once again, I want to give a special thank you to my sponsor, Miniature Market, for making these videos possible, and thank you guys so much for watching. My name is Cody, and may your games be filled with awesome memories and even better friends. I'll catch you guys next time.